What's up, world? Welcome to a new episode of the Brandon Janu Show. As you already know, I am Brandon Janu, and also I don't have my hat with me right now, but shout out to my family, Urban Boulevard, Urban Boulevard. .co. That is their social media platform. You can go and find some things like my hat. I don't have it on me right now, but if you've seen the videos and everything, you know what the hat looks like already. Um, and if you click there, go on the website, and you click on something and it leads you right to their website, Urban Boulevard, BLVD.US is the website. And if you find something that you like, you buy it, type in the code Brandon.30. That's Brandon.30 for 30% off. Shout out to them. Thank you for always, um, you know, supporting me and promoting me when I do post the pictures on social media and I tag you guys in it. So thank you guys. Also, shout out to all of the amazing people I've had the pleasure of working with recently. Always my family, of course. Meet the Tyler's podcast, and of course, What the Shit podcast, DC. My brother Arce, of course. My TDs, Miss Queen from Pillow Talk with the T, and of course, my T. You know, from Grown As Folk, Sharice. Love y'all. Love y'all so much. Thank y'all for always coming through and doing Tuesday nights with me. And anytime I call y'all, y'all come through. So I appreciate it. Um, and shout out to my family at Kick Up Your Heels Entertainment for the last two interviews I've done. Got one coming this uh Monday, 11 p.m. Monday night. It'll be 12 midnight Tuesday. So in the East. So y'all can go and catch those episodes when they do drop. Uh, that episode, both of those episodes come out. One comes out Sunday, one comes out Monday. Monday midnight, Tuesday midnight for the East. If y'all in the East. Pacific time, I think it'd be 9 for both. 9 Pacific time for both. So catch them if you're in the Pacific. If you listen to this in the Pacific, you are shout out. And anybody that's listening on Anchor and liking it, shout out to all you guys. I know I never shout you guys out. I see that I got like Canada and all these other places that do actually are now picking up on it. I'm starting to hit different age groups, which is pretty dope. Um, so thank you for listening. If you are listening, appreciate it. And let's get into the podcast, I guess. Um, so tonight, um, I want to do this podcast, and I want to do it like this. So, if you grew up like me in the '90s, late '90s, early 2000s, you probably was a massive wrestling fan, like I was. The late '90s, early 2000s, WWE, WCW, Nitro, um, midway through the 2000s, TNA, Impact came in. Um, and I started watching that. But I was a massive wrestling fan, super massive. Still to this day, I watch wrestling. I might not catch it like I used to catch it. Or I might not even give it the proper context like I used to because I know now I read. Back in the day, it used to be called dirt sheets and back pages and shit like that on wrestling, back sheets and shit like that. And now you can just literally go on social media and look at all of the craziest shit that's going on in the wrestling world. And no, I'm not gonna talk about. I could, but I'm not gonna talk about it on this one, not this episode, but probably next one. Matter of fact, the end of the month is coming up, and I might actually talk about uh, Sasha Banks and Naomi walking the fuck out of WWE. So I might talk about that. Follow me on Instagram, Brand New Show, for random shit and point of view. Excuse me, point of view and random shit. That'd be at the end of this month. So May, I really, I always do on the last Saturday of the month. So whenever there's the last Saturday of the month, I will be on Instagram Live with that. So if you tune in with that, I will be there. But I remember growing up, man, and always watching wrestling. You know what I'm saying? And there's always this who could carry the company, right? Like I said, in the '90s, it was Stone Cold and The Rock. You know what I'm saying? And for WCW, it was Hulk Hogan and it was NWO and Sting. and then when everything kind of merged together in 2001, 2002, really, when WWE bought WCW, yeah, you were getting older talent, you were getting people that everybody knew, but WCW didn't really bring a lot of the superstars on WCW didn't go to go to WWE. I mean, Sting didn't go right away, um, which was a massive one. I thought if Sting would have went right away, about it would have been crazy, and you would have got what I always wanted to see: Undertaker versus Sting. But I think the version that Undertaker was at that time couldn't match up with Sting. Um, but yeah. So I remember like in '02, what NXT is now. '02, WWE had a developmental um camp for wrestlers. OVW. Everybody knows the stories of the OVW and who came out particularly in that class in '01, '02. Brock Lesnar, Batista, Randy Orton. I think Shelton Benjamin was a part of that class. The best of the best. You know what I'm saying? And it was one other person, and he's the person I'm actually going to title this episode after: John Cena. Now, I could have titled this Batista too, but Batista was at least picked by Triple H, who was literally the top guy in the company at the time, to join his group. John Cena, on the other hand, literally had to scratch a claw to get to where he was. He became the face of the front of the damn company. Held the company down. Everybody knows for over if you know wrestling, almost over 10 years. Was one of the greatest. If you had to create a Mount Rushmore of modern day WWE, it would be John Cena, Randy Orton, Undertaker, maybe Triple H. Modern day WWE. I'm talking about from 2000, I'll say maybe 5 to maybe 15. It was John Cena. It was Randy Orton. It was Edge. I mean, it was Undertaker, and it was Triple H. That was the guys. That was the pillars of WWE for that long stretch over a decade when John Cena really took off. Yeah, it was Randy Orton. It was Undertaker. It was John Cena. That was kind of the guys. John Cena came from out of nowhere to be the guy, and he's the reason why I want to talk. Well, I'm actually naming this episode after him. So in '02, everybody remembers John Cena's debut. It's right after Vince McMahon went on Raw and was like, "I need people with ruthless aggression." And John Cena comes out that following Thursday, because at the time Friday, SmackDown was on Thursday nights. Comes out. Kurt Angle's in a ring. He's doing, I think, the Olympic challenge. Who wants to fight the Olympic gold medalist? John Cena comes out, um, walks in a ring, and Kurt Angle looks at him like, "This kid, who the hell is this kid?" And Kurt Angle's like, "What makes you think? What do you think got the skills to fight me? What do you have to make you think you can beat me?" And he gives him the mic and says, "John Cena, everybody knows, ruthless aggression." Bow, and smack the shit out of Kurt Angle. And then they go into the match and they fight. Kurt Angle pins him like on a quick roll and beats him. John Cena looks at Kurt Angle like, "This close, I almost beat you. I almost beat you." And Kurt Angle like, "Man, I know this kid ain't talking to me like that. Like, motherfucker, do you know who I am?" And John Cena goes in the back, and everybody's giving him his props. And everybody knows Undertaker then walks up. Undertaker at the time was the undisputed champion. I think he was actually supposed to be a heel at that time. I think he was a heel at that time. But even he had to give this kid his love and his respect. He actually dapped him up. Was like, "Good match, kid. Good match." And it went on. And John Cena looks at his hand like, people don't remember what happened after that moment because nobody talks about it. John Cena fucking failed. That was a terrible John Cena. His first, nobody remembers that John Cena because John Cena that moment, 2002 John Cena was fucking terrible. He was a face. He was a, if you know wrestling terms, a baby face is a good guy, but he was a terrible face. He was what was generically what WWE was putting out. It was just like a goody two shoes. Let's get it. Let's go. Come on, I got it. Let's do this. And it was just bad. It was like, good God, like, dude, you really like this is the guy we about to, you know. And at that time, nobody knew John Cena was there. I mean, when you go and look at his when they did the Ruthless Aggression era documentary on WWE Network, which is on Peacock, if you got Peacock, go look at this. John Cena literally says, "Yo, I failed. That shit was terrible. Like my first year there was, I was floundering. Like it wasn't supposed to even be what it became." He's like, "I was gonna." He was like, "I was like maybe two or three fires, like cutting people off WWE, cutting getting firing people away. I was like two or three of those days where they were like they could look at me and be like, "Yo, you got to pack your shit and go." So for him to, and then if you don't remember, uh, I think he did like a Halloween party in '03. I think like that first year was terrible, but it's '03. I think '03 he did a Halloween party. Might have been a Halloween party, or maybe it was '02, late '02, maybe early '03, late '03. But there's a Halloween party. I think it was '02. There's a Halloween party, and I think he's rapping at the Halloween party. Stephanie McMahon, who was general manager but also one of the creative directors of that show, SmackDown, with Paul Heyman, she's like, "You got something, kid. Like you got something with that." At the time, 8 Mile had came out, so the white rapper shit was kind of taking off, and especially freestyling. So they give him that stick, and he becomes, if you remember, the doctor of thugonomics. Becomes a doctor of thugonomics. Goes on in '03. He's challenging different people. He challenged Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. A lot of people forget that they actually fought at Backlash in 2003. Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of him, but they fought at Backlash. Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of that dude, but they fought at Backlash. He also fought the Undertaker in an old school, new school match at Vengeance that year. Undertaker was telling them like, "This my yard. You ain't just gonna come in here and think you about to run me out my shit." And John Cena was, and people forget that John Cena, that Doctor of Thugonomics, because we always remember the Doctor of Thugonomics that we did actually fuck with. That was a heel. People forget that shit. The first Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena was a heel. He was a heel. He had a bodyguard. I remember, like I guess it was his posse. I guess whatever. He had somebody with him, rapping, talking shit, and he was a heel. He was actually with Vince McMahon at the time. He was working with Vince McMahon. That's why a lot of people equate Austin Theory, the new wrestler on Raw, they kind of equated to what John Cena was. Because John Cena when he first got his real big break, he was around Vince a lot, and he went into a rivalry because of Vince and Undertaker's rivalry culminated with John Cena and Undertaker fighting at Vengeance that year in '03, which led to a lot of John Undertaker giving him more respect, and John Cena went on to be turned into the face that we all know and love now. And so, his first year he was terrible. First couple months on the job, he was fucking awful. He was terrible. He gets a job. He gets a gimmick, as people say in wrestling. They got a gimmick, Doctor of Thugonomics, and the shit worked. He was a heel. His rivalry with the Undertaker kind of pushed him into a face. By Survivor Series in '03, I think '03. Um, he officially turned face. I think it was Team Lesnar versus Team Angle because they were still working that dynamic. And he was supposed. I think Brock Lesnar was trying to get him to come on Team Lesnar, and John Cena was just like, "I don't know about you," and he joins Team Angle. At the time, they were trying to push him and Chris Benoit, rest in peace, to join Team Angle. And they were also supposed to be the two new faces of SmackDown. I think at the time Edge had left SmackDown, and Eddie Guerrero I think was just coming to SmackDown. But those were the two guys that they were trying to push, and they were making him fight. They were making them both fight Brock Lesnar a lot. John Cena goes and becomes, the face. He becomes the guy that everybody remembers. And then in '04, it really started off. He goes into WrestleMania, um, and beats Big Show at WrestleMania 20 at Madison Square Garden. And I literally remember telling my dad, 'cause I remember being at my TD Mama Lou house. What's up, Mama Lou? I remember being at a house watching WrestleMania with my dad and everybody. I remember watching it, and I remember telling my dad, like, that dude gonna be the next one up. I'm telling you. And everybody be like, him? I'm like, yep, John Cena. He gonna be the next one up. Watch. And he beats the Big Show. And at the time, the Big Show had been in wrestling for damn near a decade. So if they gave you the United States Championship over the Big Show, they really believed in you. And at that time, the United States Championship and Intercontinental Championship, you had those two titles, you were going to win the major title eventually. They just didn't know when they were going to give it to you. If you don't believe me, also going into that WrestleMania in 2004 as the Intercontinental Champion was Randy Orton. So I'm telling you, and he beat The Rock and Sock Connection that night. I'm just saying, if you could beat Mick Foley and The Rock that night, yes, he had Batista and Ric Flair, but still, he beat The Rock and Sock Connection by himself. Really, to be honest with you, he RKO'd Mick Foley and pinned him. But he wins at WrestleMania 20, and then his character continues to build. He gets more people messing with him, fucking with him. A lot of fanfare. He's still Doctor Thugonomics, and then he goes on and pretty much culminates his 3 years with the winning the of the WWE Championship against JBL at WrestleMania 21. He beats him in LA 1, 2, 3. Gives him an FU at the time, a FU. Now it's the attitude adjustment, and he beats him. Culminates his career. His first WWE Championship. He won it at WrestleMania 21. Took him 3 years. Now, why am I talking about John Cena? And why did I have all that information? And how did I know all that information? Because I'm a wrestling fan. I actually looked at this shit for years. I've seen this man go from a nobody to literally on the Mount Rushmore of modern day wrestling. It's undeniable. But it has a lot to do with me. My first couple of months when I was doing podcasting, I was floundering. I didn't know what I was going to talk about. Some days I just didn't give a fuck. I come in. I was also dealing with depression really bad, anxiety really bad, and everything just too much on me. And I mean, hell, y'all go listen to my first episodes. I think I still got them on my YouTube channel, Brandon Janeau Show. If you listen to this podcast, I think my first couple episodes are literally on my YouTube channel because I used to be on a speaker app. And I remember my first couple months, I was doing it. I remember I did like my episode 10, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna continue doing this shit. If I do, you know, cool. But if not, at least I tried. At least I tried. And I worked myself out of that, like John Cena did. Now, John Cena needed a gimmick. Me, on the other hand, I needed to be more open with myself and know that this podcast is mine and only mine. And I cannot go and force anything but what I know to be true to myself. My story is my story. I have to go and tell that the best way I can tell it, even if I don't know it 100% down pack, because the future is still to be written. But the past and the present even still to the day is kind of a little bit shaky. You don't know until it happens. And though, so I went on. And that first year, I finally found it. I found something. I don't know what I found, but I found something. And I remember doing my all that time. I know I'm in my fifth season, but this is literally still my second year of really fucking podcasting. Um, my anniversary of being a podcaster doesn't kick off until September 19th. So my second year, just like John Cena, they gave him something to see what he can be. Just like me in podcasting. Y'all gave me something to see what I can be. And I've worked that angle very well. And now having all of the opportunities and people. And, I mean, I just did a clip of literally what we did Tuesday night. That shit's a 3 hour show. Who would have ever thought I'd be doing 3 hour shows? I barely want to do 2 hours, 2 minutes. And now I'm doing 3 hours with people, my family, my podcast family. I have a family in this podcast world. It's a crazy feeling. It's beyond me. I don't know how to do it sometimes. And like I said, John Cena's third year, he was given the opportunity to see if he truly could be the face of the company. And he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21. And he became the face of the company. Going into my third year, I'm not getting a WWE Championship. But I am getting something. Like I said today, I posted this on social media. Uh, at the time, I was I have my show and I have two other shows. I'm honored, privileged, overwhelmed that these two men decided to work with me. My brother Juan, Jack's Wild Sports Show podcast that we do. You can catch us tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Central, 7 Pacific, and my brother Arce, my partner in crime, um, and his podcast, Arce podcast, and his Spank Bank podcast that he does, and him and Jay Christian from the Cognac Room, their podcast, The Let Up. You can find that all on their own respective YouTube channels, but also on his Patreon, Arce, slash Patreon / Arce. So go and follow him on that. And now I got to present it with another opportunity, and that's to be on my guy Courtney um, podcast, smoking reviews. And it's crazy, you know. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. Is it to be explained? I'm not gonna be a face of podcasting. That's not what I'm saying here. When it comes to that, is the difference between me and John Cena. John Cena went on and had an incredible run, tied the legendary Ric Flair championship title runs, 16. This is going into my third year, and I can't even tell you what is going to happen. I got 200 episodes coming up. Take into account what I just said a couple minutes ago. My 10th episode, I'm talking about quitting and not doing this shit no more. And it's a battle. I'm not gonna lie with y'all. It's a battle every day to do a podcast. It's not because I don't think I can't do it. It's more so, will anybody listen? My TD said this Tuesday about that, and I completely understood what she meant. But what my family said also that night sticks out in my head. If you don't tell your story, you have a story. People are gonna listen. You just gotta get it to the right people, because the right ears will perk up when they hear authenticity and honesty and true understanding that there's more to the story than what meets the eye. John Cena went on to now be a Hollywood actor, one of the greatest wrestlers. You can say whatever you want to say. He's one of the greatest wrestlers. And a 16-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It all started with his second year, getting the United States Championship. Not his first, not his third year, not his WrestleMania 21 year. No, it really started in 2004, his second year. My second year has started with that same energy. His third year, he got the WWE Championship. My third year, we shall see. It's been a Brandon Janeau show, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.